I'm Matt Bacowie. I'm one of the coaches with the club and have been since we started.
I'm Sarah Dillon, Vice President of the swim club.
Welcome. And would you like to begin your presentation?
Sure. Okay, so I thought we would start by just talking a little bit about the club and our background. And to do that, I thought I would hand it over to Matt as the coach who founded the club and really started the program in Beaumont, just to talk about that to start with.
All right, so just to give you a quick background on myself, because that's part of why we've started the program here. I've been involved in swimming in this region for about 27 years. So as a swimmer back in the early 90s out in Leduc. So I'm out here in the Edmonton region through till 2000. Then I started coaching out in Leduc in 2000, and I've coached in this region ever since then. So it happened to the start of the pool. When the pool opened, that was a break in I was transitioning from one coaching job, so it gave me an opportunity to start up a program in my own backyard, which is really exciting to me. And that we're entering our 10th season now, which is really exciting. And I think we kind of I've gone through with developing the whole idea of performance swimming in my coaching career prior to starting this program. And here we are really looking to make swimming accessible to as affordable, really quality coaching is affordable to the residents of this community. As swimming was getting more and more expensive, it was a really big priority of mine to make it as accessible as possible. And with my background, I knew that I could offer really quality programming and that the results would follow. So that's kind of the background of where the program started, and the results followed in suit. So it wasn't looking at results first, it was really looking at making it accessible to everybody. And I think through the connections as teaching in the community and coaching the community, we got kids really excited to swim. And when kids got excited to swim, they started swimming pretty fast. And as a result, and through my connections in Leduc, after a few years out here with our success here, the Leduc program was struggling to find coaches out there, and we ended up amalgamating with them to join our resources, so we wouldn't each have to have a top paid head coach running each pool out there, which became then cost prohibitive. So by merging our resources and having just one main coach overseeing it and then assistant coaches working it, we were able to continue to offer quality programming throughout the county as having as affordable price as possible for the residents.
Yeah, so since Matt started the club, we've transitioned to a nonprofit board under the Societies Act and operating under those guidelines. And currently we have 4 paid coaches on staff. So why should you care about swimming? Why do we care about swimming? So swimming is actually a fairly large sport in Alberta. Just recently at the Swim Alberta conference, they were celebrating over 10,000 swimmers registered in Alberta now with Swim Alberta and Swim Canada. It's unique in that it's a lifelong sport that teaches important life skills, so around water safety, being a parent and being near a swimming pool with kids who have been in the program or have been in the program. I have confidence that they're going to be okay. Near water, which is fantastic, but also just the low impact on the body, the ability to swim from the age of 4 or 5 to 84, 85 makes it unique as well. It is a team and individual sport. I think it's important to have that variety for my children. I know my son tried a number of different sports, and really swimming is the one that fit best for his personality, and I kind of see it's like a good group of when you go out and golf, right? And it's a camaraderie, it's the ability to spend time with friends, and at the same time you're competing with yourself and you're trying to improve, but really it's an individual sport with a group of like-minded people. And also it's unique in that it's co-ed, and so we've got young children who are on deck with their peers, male, female. It's actually, there's slightly more females on the team, and I think it teaches some really important lessons that typically don't happen in sport where they're separated by gender. So who are our members? I thought an overview would be helpful. So we have just over 50% that are Beaumont residents. So out of us attending here, 3 out of 4. We also have residents from sort of further than I would have expected. So we've We have people coming in from Camrose, Wetaskiwin, Farintosh, which I had to look up because I wasn't sure where that was. So that's actually south of Camrose, and towards Red Deer and Wetaskiwin. So we actually have people commuting in to the region. They're killing time, going to local businesses while their kids are in the pool for an hour, those types of things. So it is, you know, I think it's good from the community from both of those perspectives, both for the residents who live here and also for the businesses. Let's move forward. So how are we funded? We're primarily funded by training fees. So when we look at how we're doing in our goal to be available and accessible for everyone, we're not being as successful as we could be because of the way that we, I guess, the diversity of our income or our tax base. So we depend a lot on training fees. We're working on improving and being more effective with fundraising. And also we do receive some grants. Once every few years we can do the Camrose Casino, and we do some bingos and so on. So that's an area that we want to work on and try to keep those training fees down as reasonable as possible to provide the best programming for the most affordable price. And so where do those fees go? Primarily in two areas. So the 35%, see if I can work the laser pointer over there. So the 35% kind of chocolate piece of the pie is the pool fees. And so, it's a large cost for us, and one of the resources that's we're completely dependent on to maintain our program. Coach's salary is another one, and so swimming is unique in that this is a competitive group, and so kind of like club soccer or competitive gymnastics, we depend on coaches who are paid a salary, and we're really fortunate that our coaches are committed to the community, committed to the kids here, and actually don't prioritize salary. We're actually sort of below market rate in most cases for our coaches, and we're working to, through this process, trying to get them to what's fair and reasonable for them to be paid, but at the same time keeping fees as affordable as possible. We've got another next largest one would be the 17% at the bottom, and that's debt repayment. So this year we're working on recovering some outstanding debts and repaying those and correcting sort of the sustainability and ability to operate in the long term by prioritizing our budget and our good business practice and not taking on more than what we can afford.
I can speak to that. Additionally, sure. in a debt repayment component to a particular budget often raises a strange eyebrow. And rightfully so, because you wonder why it is that there was a debt to begin with. And what we've been able to address this year quite successfully is an improved rigor to our fiscal and resource management. So we've restructured our entire organization to shrink areas that were once, in perspective, bloated on this particular pie chart. So areas that might have been dedicated to admin costs have been reduced. We've replaced those with volunteerism, and identified also the gaps that had existed with high forecasts and low realization, where we projected that we would do really, really well with fundraising. Our history tells us that traditionally we fall in at a different level. So we set the bar at realistic levels, made some dramatic adjustments to our training fee schedules, and looked at fundraising in a realistic capacity to say this is what we need to operate not just this year, but for years to come in this community. And I thought that was important to illustrate that in this pie chart as well. Sorry, John.
Thanks. No, thank you, Emma. Any questions about that? Okay.
There
Yes.
is a question.
Sorry.
Can I just ask a quick question? I noticed you've got PayPal fees.